was also a bit of that.
Yeah.
Because you just feel like we're really no longer being intimate.
Yeah.
We are on a journey, it's work.
Yes.
It's actually a chore.
Yes.
It's one of the things you need to do. It's no longer let's enjoy each other, let's have sex for us. We were really just having sex as it was production. It was production days. It was 4 production days. It was month end. You are managing month end. You're managing sales.
Well, welcome to another episode, beautiful episode of Love, Marriage and Family podcast. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for everything, your love, your support, your comments, your likes. But also importantly, if it's your first time joining us today, please do consider subscribing so that you can be updated about, the next content and what we have planned in terms of this content. My name is Mo, and of course, I'm not alone.
You are never alone.
I'm never alone.
I'm always here. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us once again. And as we do every week, we always get an opportunity to sit with amazing people.
Yeah.
And today is no exception.
Yeah.
We've got an amazing couple. We cannot actually wait to get through their journey on love, marriage, and family. We're going to ask them to intro themselves because, honestly, I don't think we're going to do justice in introducing them.
Yeah.
Welcome, you guys.
The Makungus.
Thank you so much for having us. We're really excited to be here. So my name is Palesa and Nkuna. I'm his wife.
Of course. Yeah. Blushing and all.
Yeah, and we've been married. This is our 10th year married.
10th year.
Yes.
Congrats.
10th year married, 11 years together.
Known each other for...
Okay, known each other for half our lives.
So is it one of those high school
Is it high
sweethearts?
school, primary?
Far from it.
Friends. We were friends, friend zone. He managed to
Who friend
fall-
zone who?
He was in the friend zone.
And I graduated
And
to
he
brother
graduated.
zone. Got worse.
As though that's better. And then when did you unzone him?
I think when I started to see that time and the calls are no longer the same.
Oh, okay.
The calls are no longer the same. The calls are now at ungodly hours.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
okay, this brother clearly is slowly climbing out.
The language is getting deeper.
This is news, by the way. The ungodly hours.
Yeah.
So it was becoming one of those, do you want to hang up now? Should I? Are you?
No, you go
And
first.
then because he used to work underground. So the ungodly hours is that whenever he got out and from underground, I'd be the first person he wants to talk to. So, so that was cute, right?
Yeah,
Underground,
I get you.
political.
No.
Just checking. I thought you were politically under.
They're about to deviate from the content.
Exactly.
So then we just started chatting more, and it was scary at first, I think, because you just like, I like our friendship.
Yeah.
We're really close.
Yeah.
My family knows him.
Yeah.
I think your family knew me.
Yeah.
So it was just, going into that territory was very scary because you're like, if it doesn't work out, then
You could mess
I've messed
up.
out a relationship, a friendship. So, but I went there. My mother was like, I remember sharing with my mom, and she was like, my love, if you like him,
Yeah.
then go for it.
Yeah.
And I went for it, and man, we're here today.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think moms always know best.
Yes.
I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah.
Moms always know best. Yeah. Let's leave it there. So I really understand where your mom was coming from, because I think as girls, we become sometimes too superficial, and
Yes.
sometimes we want things that are not real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And parents or our moms sometimes actually bring us to life to say,
Yeah.
hang on, actually,
Yeah.
this could be the right
a decent
relationship.
guy.
There's no better hunk.
There's no, you know what I mean? This is the hand. So how did you guys actually meet?
You can give your version. Let's hear what your version sounds like.
The real version. So, look, we met at church. So we used to go to the same church, just different branches.
Yeah.
And her dad was a pastor. So he would pastor or preach in a number of our conferences. So, of course, they came along, sat with the pastor's kids and everyone else and us Nkunas there. And, so you just see this family, basically, that you love and, you begin to, think I guess. And she also happened to go to the same school as my aunt that I'm very close to.
Okay.
So that interaction, so she's friends with my aunt. I don't know whether it's added advantage or what. But and then over time, we then happened to go to the same varsity as well. So she arrived a year after me, and I was big brother. I think that's where things got really worse.
Yeah.
I was just big brother to her, took care of her, and we got very close then, and we became real friends. And until we then went and joined the same student ministry.
I actually found him at the student ministry because I was looking for a church. And I was very scared because, when you're coming from back home, like in Joburg, everybody tells you must find a church. You must. So when I went to that student organization and I saw him, I felt at home.
Because
I trusted him. Yes, and I trusted that he would be in a good place.
There's a lot of news today.
Keep him coming. Yeah. So obviously, at the time, you guys had sort of a platonic relationship, right? And there's a point where Mr. Nkuna over here is kind of like winking.
Internally.
Well, maybe externally too. And you are thinking, when did things change? At what point did he then say, okay, I think I'm interested in more than just platonic relationship with you?
I think in hindsight, this man's always wanted me. Because he always used to tell me he loves me.
Yeah.
As a friend.
Oh, okay.
And I love you too. That's how we'd end our calls. But I think I was just naive.
Wait. Would it end by I love you as a friend?
No, it would just be I love you and I love you too. It was not a I had a boyfriend, I'm sure, and he had a girlfriend. So it really didn't honestly but nobody believes us.
That is so
I believe you. I really
believes us when we say
She doesn't. She's not hiding it.
when we say there was absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I think there's a day when he just no, I really want to take you out, and we just, I think things just, we started spending more time together.
Yeah.
And then I think even a friend of ours or of mine was like, okay, today you guys are officially dating. Because, wow, what is this?
Yeah.
So, because I think it had been 2 months. We were still tiptoeing around each other. And so actually a friend declared us.
Yeah.
Officially.
Dating.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we started dating and things just continued. And I just, I remember being just overwhelmed with love. I had this feeling of just, I don't know, but I remember that day very well because I was driving from work and I was just and I called him and I'm like, I think I love you.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I love you. So it was then that I knew that this is my guy.
This is the one.
Yeah.
And how, from there, how did it get into the marriage part?
Hence I say this guy, he's always wanted me. He did not take time. We started dating officially, let's say August. In January, he sent his uncles. He still owes me a proposal because he did things, I think I'm ready to send my uncles it's cute.
That's a serious man. I tell you.
Yeah, it was very serious.
Get
But
any
I'm
better
like,
than that?
I want but yeah, but we were very excited about it. And then he sent the letter in January. In April, he engaged me. Well, they paid lobola.
Yeah.
And we got engaged at church. And then in November, we got married.
Oh my word! Just like that.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Sure, Mr. Nkuna doesn't play. Yeah? Like he goes for what he wants.
Look, I think I had known her almost all my
Long enough,
life,
yeah.
and I had seen probably all sides of her.
Really?
In relationships, like I saw how she behaved.
Yeah.
I saw how I fought for her relationships.
Yeah.
I did.
What does that mean, though?
It means because we're friends.
Yeah,
there was-
yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm about to break up with a guy,
Oh, so you would. I see.
Oh, so you were with that friend?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
The-
deep.
the
Like
one-
I was
the one that-
No, you were deep in the friend zone, my brother. You were deep. That's why I'm interested. How did you get out of that? Because it'll take, I don't know, a miracle to dig yourself out of that.
yeah.
But I mean, she just said it. He's good. So I'm sure he had his way of coming out of the friend zone.
Oh
Yes.
man, you guys! I think that story needs to be told because there are so many guys
Yeah.
who are in that zone.
And they've been.
And they've been and they remain in that zone. Even they themselves, they tell themselves, okay, I'll never get out of this zone.
Yeah.
And then they move on and get somebody
Yeah.
else instead of like, people will often, come across such people and we're like, guys, why don't you just get together?
Yeah.
You
So I think what probably was the issue, or it's because we actually didn't have thoughts. Certainly I didn't, contrary to popular belief. We didn't have the thoughts of saying, I want her, I want to be in a relationship with her. It was never like that. So I guess because of that, we then have a situation where I'm not repelling her. She doesn't get overwhelmed by my constant nagging of wanting to get out of the friend zone. So I think sometimes it's hard for people to get out of the friend zone because the more you want to get out and the more you show you want to get out, there's a bit of you stop being authentic, you stop being real, and then she starts feeling otherwise. And it can be the other way around.
Yeah.
So I think maybe for us, just because she was just really, 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 I said it 5 times, right? It means I'm serious. She's just a friend. She's just a sister at the time. Until I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I think we are now somewhere.
Yeah.
When you now want to talk to her all the time. She becomes the natural person to share everything with.
Yeah.
And you're like, I think we're getting somewhere.
This is it, yeah.
And it's good.
Yeah.
So I guess also as soon as we started dating, also because I had put a friendship at risk, I think we had a really genuine good friendship.
Yeah.
And like she's saying, that was the fear. And even for me, it was like, we're going to lose something really nice here.
Yeah.
So I guess it was like an issue of saying, look, you've already thrown away a good prize. So just go for it. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't. But I never had those thoughts. I was like, I knew it was just going to be, just like this. Yeah.
Families, obviously, you were known as a friend. Adapting, how do they adapt to the whole thing that, okay, this one is now more than a friend?
I think my mom knew from the beginning, and she was very happy. But I think
By the way, I used to go to her house a lot, for coffee. So I would
visits.
Her mom would make me coffee. I'd eat at her house.
You were manifested, my brother.
actually,
You shall declare a thing.
Established.
actually, my mom needs to tell us the truth. She prayed.
Yeah.
But the parents were very cool. I think I did have a sit down, obviously, with my dad. I'm like, and that's the relationship I always had with my dad. It was very uncomfortable, but he always wanted to know, are you dating? Who are you dating?
From what age, though?
From high school, maybe matric.
Good. That's good.
My mom was.
I like it.
My mom was like, Yeah, she'd want to know, but
Yeah.
she started relaxing, I think, when I was in varsity. Then she wants to know, are you dating? You
Yes.
know? But so he always wanted to know.
That's
I
so
think he
interesting
felt
for a
that
dad.
If he knows, then there's lots of things that he can control, even the
Yeah.
conversations you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you also the responsibility now. You have more responsibility now when he knows, because now you must really make sure that you live up
Responsible.
and you're responsible, and So I think when I told them about him, obviously he didn't want to show it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, just take your time, sissy. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
a stamp of approval.
Yeah, but I mean, I knew he liked him.
Yeah.
So that was not an issue. And I think your mom just loved me.
Yeah. So with obviously you guys eventually get married without the proposal, and
Thank you.
It's gonna come
It needs to.
10 years.
but you know
You did say that we don't play. You know.
Yeah,
we
no.
get real.
that's serious. Actually, it's very romantic. From an African point of view, it's very very cool. But you get married, right? And you guys have got 2 kids, right?
Yes.
You've got 2 kids, but your journey towards that, it didn't just happen.
Yeah, no.
Can you take us through that?
Yeah, we got married, and initially we had both agreed that we would wait a bit because we wanted to enjoy being married. But then obviously it's funny because the pressure that comes after marriage,
Yeah.
it's like literally we went home, we got married in November, and then we were moved and we were living in Joburg, and then we went back for an Easter conference. But literally everybody's like touching your tummy, like trying, when they hug you
Yeah.
like all these mamas are hugging
Yeah.
you to try and feel like, hey,
How
3
are
months
things
have
going?
passed,
Yes.
So it was that pressure, but I think we also just decided, like, you know what, it's okay. We will start trying to have children, and yeah.
How long after the wedding?
So it was November. 6 months later.
6 months later. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 6 months later, and then we tried a whole 7 years. That's how long it took us. It took us
Oh, wow.
7 years of trying and just really believing that we would have what we believed God had promised us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Wait. 7 years.
whew, okay, so how was that journey though? Because you mentioned something quite important, that immediately when you got married, there was that pressure, from family, strangers, people from church. But how did you navigate all of that? I mean, you get pregnant 7 years later, but the journey in that 7 years, how was the pressure, and where were you guys in terms of mentally?
So, look, like she said, I think as it starts, I mean, like for everyone else, you don't know when it happens and how it happens.
Yeah.
You don't really know.
Well, we know how it happens. We know. But I get what you mean.
Slow down, guys, slow down.
I'm with you. Very good one. So during that journey, you get to a point where you're like, okay, we think we're now at a point where it's perhaps taking longer than it should.
Yeah.
After 2 years or so, then you start actually thinking, okay, maybe we should see a doctor. And then we start consulting. During that time, it's not yet strenuous. You start thinking, okay, for some it's quick, for some it's not. But after a while, then you realize that, okay, there's an issue. Even though the doctors are saying
There's no.
They don't
absolutely
see
nothing
anything,
wrong.
yeah.
Except for the one doctor who said, we're not doing it right. Yeah. We had a
wow.
qualified gynae with a degree
Yeah.
and years of
Where did you buy
practice. And he said, "You're not doing it right. The position you are using is not the right
Ay,
position.
Yeah.
So you must try this position so that you can."
Yes.
And that day, actually, it was a Sunday, I think, or
Maybe
a Friday.
morning,
Okay.
When we went home, I told her we're not going back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
That's
I mean, you thought you've been doing it right all along.
Even
I mean,
the thing is, even if you didn't think so, even I as a layman know
Yeah.
there is no position. You know what I mean? There's no.
wouldn't we use that position to avoid it as teenagers?
No, guys.
Wouldn't it be used like by people who don't want to fall pregnant?
No, it does happen. It does happen.
Yes, there
where
are
they will recommend.
yes.
They're not saying it's the only one that you can fall
Sure,
pregnant,
sure.
but they would actually recommend certain
Yes.
positions. And I think we've experienced that when we wanted our last born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it actually took us 7 years to get our last one.
Yeah.
And they would recommend, and I'm assuming that's why
I
they were
didn't
saying.
know that.
Yeah, they would recommend special.
Now it's beginning to make sense.
Yeah. I think she knows it.
This conversation is derailing.
But let's come back. I think you and Mo are really interrupting here. So, and
Oh,
then,
it's us.
then what happens from there? Because obviously you even get to a point where you're even doubting yourselves, even doubting whether is it going to happen for us.
Yeah.
So you start consulting different doctors, and please take us through that journey of moving from one doctor to the next. And
Yeah. So I think after that gynae, we probably stayed another year before I could find a gynae that. I think then actually it was a conversation at work with a lady telling me about her experience and her gynae. I was like, oh, okay. It's like, oh, you should try her. And then I just made an appointment because I didn't have a gynae.
Yeah.
So I made an appointment and we went, and I tell you, even the conversation
with this particular one.
was different.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh wow.
she wanted to know so much things, and we were charting things. She was taking notes. Like, it was just amazing, because it was a different experience from the previous one. So, and then after that, we stuck to her, and we just would go through. She first, I think initially she said, no, do this, go ovulation, and she started telling us when we are most likely to fall pregnant. And then she said, go and try. Obviously, she took us for tests and everything.
Yeah.
But she said, go try naturally first before we try anything. Then we went and we tried, and it's like, okay, let's make an appointment for this date. And then when we went back again, it's like, oh, you're back. Nothing yet, my dear. And then she was like, okay, this is the next step. We're going to try natural again, but with stimulation, hormonal stimulation. So we were taking medication. I was taking medication. And then we would try, and then still nothing. And, the thing about infertility is that it's so much time goes by. You don't see the time going.
Wow.
Because it's one cycle to another. You're counting cycles, but at the end, it's like years.
Yeah.
It ends up being years because you're gone and you're doing it natural. She's like, oh, no, give it like 3 months. Let's try. That's 3 months. You come back. Then you have to go try again for another few months. And then it just keeps...
It's almost a year.
It's a year. And then, so that's how time flies. And then, so we just then started doing, she then introduced artificial insemination, intrauterine insemination. So this is where then they would, she'd give me medication to stimulate my ovaries and everything. And then at a certain time, when you have to take those ovulation tests, at a certain time, then you have to go to her. Then they take his sperm, wash it, make it concentrated, and then they insert it via catheter. And then you just lie there, and then you just wait.
And wait.
Yeah. The 2-week wait is the longest wait of your life. It's 2 weeks, but it feels so long.
Wow.
Because everything makes you feel that you are pregnant. Every craving or every ache you really feel. I don't know if it's you believing that you are pregnant, but you really feel that you are pregnant. And also you don't want to allow yourself to think in the negative. So you are pregnant.
Yeah.
And you go on for the next year, and then you have the 2-week wait, and then your period comes, and then you are just shattered. You're shattered. You just don't know. You cry. You don't know what to do with yourself, and you have to, pick yourself up again and
try.
And also you can't try again like the next month, because your body, the body is it's such a sensitive thing. Like, you are too stimulated. You can't. So you need to give your body rest. That's more time. So the doctor will be like, no. And that's why I think specialists and gynaes are just need to be gifted people who have so much patience, because this can be such a journey, because she will tell you, no, let's rest your body.
Yeah.
And you're like,
And by that time, you don't want to rest your body. By that time, you want to try.
Yeah. And then so we did about 5, but one failed, because for some reason we never got a positive on our ovulation test, but we had gone through the stimulation in everything. And all of this is costs at the same time. So you just
That's another thing.
Yeah. So sometimes you don't go when you think you're going to go, because you need to plan financially as well, so that you can do the next one. So we did 4, 5, and then we just, I think the last one that we did, the IUI that we did, the last one, we had just stopped, and she was the one. I think that was even more, I think for us, that just encouraged us more, because she had so much faith, because she was like, I remember her sending me a message and saying, my darling, there was another lady that I did, and she fell pregnant. Come, let's try again. It's like, this doctor. But then we tried again, and still didn't work. And then she said, no, let's try IVF, which she had, I think after the third one, she had mentioned, but we were like, no, it's a lot of money. We don't have that money, so we're going to continue with these until, Then my husband was like, nope, we are not doing it. We're going to wait. Because also it's a big step, because a lot of questions would come, people, you read a lot, and you go on the website, on YouTube, to look for content so that you can just inform yourself, and you hear people saying they're not, IVF babies are not from God. So it is just...
Yeah, so you start doubting your decision.
So I think the wait for us, that we literally took a 1-year gap where we just took care of us.
Yeah.
And emotionally, and seeking God. And because even just how I just woke up and I said, okay, I'm ready to do IVF. And he was like, okay, cool. And then I called the doctor. She's like, oh, okay, come tomorrow. We come tomorrow. She's like, oh, okay. Then she does 1, 2, 3, and then she sent us to get medication, and that was the beginning of our IVF journey, just like that.
Yeah. And how long was that journey?
So we started in July, because you have to. They need to extract eggs from you, so we did that in July, and then they fertilize those eggs, and then also. And that's when you realize that as much as people can say what they want to say, God is still at play in all of these things. Because
Absolutely.
Though you can have so many eggs and you only have a few that fertilize, or some don't fertilize at all. I remember when I got our results, and I was just I was so upset, like, why so little? But then I think I reprimanded myself so fast, because I was like, but be grateful. Some people, because I've watched so many videos.
Yeah.
So I know where people were like, no, they extracted 28 eggs and nothing, So, so then we waited. So from July, we waited. We only inserted, because your body's so stimulated, they don't do a fresh transfer.
Sure.
Because there's a possibility that your body will reject the embryos. So my doctor was like, no. We're going to wait again. So it was from July until we did what in October. Yeah.
Yeah.
In October on the 20th was when they put in the eggs, and then you just go there and you just sit, and then they insert, and then that's it.
Sure.
Every time you go to the bathroom, you think, "Oh Lord, I just peed them out."
After all of that money. But
when you talk about, talking about the money, I think also when we made the decision, and you realize the shift in how our thinking was before we started IVF. When we eventually started, I think we were at a place where we saying we were prepared that it might not work, but it's not about the money. We trust God.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, then it's God's will.
Yeah.
And that's where we were at, and our minds, and because it had shifted. Before, it was like, I'm not prepared to spend so much money and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Because you can still see there was a lot of self and a lot of, it's the doctor that needs to do this, we're going to do this, my body's going to do this, instead of saying God is going to do this.
Yeah.
God is going to give us babies.
He's the one who's in control.
Who's in control.
And Mr. Nkuna, with all of this, because I think, especially when it comes to artificial insemination, usually it's basically doing what you are supposed to be doing. And it may make you feel a certain way, because I could be doing this naturally, but we are doing it in this form. How was that for you?
Look, for me, this journey was, and it's the conversations we used to have. Everyone has a prescribed journey in life.
Yeah.
And it was always a sense and a view that perhaps this is the journey that we're gonna go. And I have actually never, not even for a moment, felt anyhow. We used to joke about it, like when we had to go do the extraction of sperm. when you have to masturbate and take out the sperm, I never felt any weird. I guess also because I hope it was the same sense that she was not really short of good sex. So because of that as well, it was not an issue. But for me, even if she was, even if there was like issues where we can't really have natural good sex, I always just thought, look, this is how we should do. Because actually, this is one of the things that one should always think about.
Yeah.
It's the same as, say for whatever reason, I was involved in an accident.
Yeah.
And I lose mobility, and I lose my ability to have sex with her.
Yeah.
What then becomes?
What would be the option? Yeah.
So, her. So it was always those kind of thoughts where it's. I've never really even felt that perhaps my manhood is not enough, or I'm not man enough for her. I hope she never thought so.
Yeah.
If she did, she certainly knew how to hide it, because I never even felt from her that there was any judgment as such. So it was and I think also because very early on we walked the journey together, and I think it's probably the single most important thing of this journey.
Yeah.
We walked the journey together, and we never tried to say it's her fault or my fault. Even when most probably 70-80% of the time, the concentration is on her. And the tests, I do one test and that's it. So they do a whole lot more tests on her. So even though the work was around her body, never felt like it was her inadequacy or anything. So therefore, I never felt any time when I felt like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Am I really a man?
Yeah. I'm looking at you, and I'm sitting as a man. I'm listening to you speaking as a man, right? And I'm thinking, correctly as you say, most of the time the focus is on our women, right? Especially during that process. What does support look like for you?
Yeah.
Because obviously she's going through all these and there are a whole lot of things that are done to her. Her body is taking a whole lot of strain. There's a whole lot of things, you know, and then on your part, you said, you know, it's just like, just test that is done to you. And then what does support look like?
If you had not asked that question, I would have asked for closing remarks. Look, I think it's very important for a man to know, like, this journey is, like I said, the 70%, 80%, the time is focused on her.
Yeah.
It means, as a man, 70, 80% of the time, you should be supporting her. So for me, the effort was just one, to be there for her. And I think, I hope I never did I never said anything to her that would have made her feel anyhow. And I think that's the first sense of support, to be present in terms of what you say. So be cognizant. Even sometimes you can say things not even wishing to be snarks, but you end up being snarks in what you have said and what that would mean. So be present in what you say about this journey or within this journey. And also never use this against each other. And that would 80% of the time would mean, as a man, never find yourself using this against her in any way. Never talk about infertility or inadequacy or, you know, during sex or about sex, or, you know, so because that is, it leaves a dent that might not be removed.
Yeah.
So I think for me it was those things, but then also protect her from everyone else, because largely family. I mean, it must be very clear.
Yeah.
You know, it must be clear to anyone that it's a no-go area. No one, and absolutely no one, has got a right to say anything that they're not invited to say to her or about her in this journey. I, by and large, probably 99% of the time in my family, I've never had to actually deflect anything from her based on that. I think my family was, by and large, without the few times when people, without realizing it, they would say or something. But I don't think we had sinister words, people with ill intent saying it to her, except for an incident that, you know, it was just really outskirt, outside. But beside that, like, for me, it's very important. Be present and be there for her, and understand those cycles. Like, she's crying every 12 months, every 30 days, 28 days.
28.
She's crying because her cycle has turned and she's gone on her period. So, like, literally, like, so when she goes on a period, it comes with tears. So you knew. So first you need to deal with the issues that happened during that time. The moods and
the hormonal what.
But so this time, I think for her, actually, even that, because the focus was her sadness, she was very sad. Very sad. So I think be present for that. Find ways to, like, really comfort
mitigate.
her.
And
So
be
up
there.
the game, if I can call it, during that time, because and for me, I made sure, like, I think I spoiled her, like, in all possible ways that I could. I mean, within my means that I could, I tried to make sure that, and I constantly told her, and I was honest about this. It was the truth for me. If we were to end up not having children, I'd still be as happy as a husband. And I never for a moment, anytime, felt like our marriage is inadequate because we don't have children. Like, it was like, for me, it was perfect. It means we're meant to be just the two of us, and we had a good time being the two of us. So I just made sure that was settled.
Oh, wow.
I like
That
that.
is so powerful.
But talking about families, I'm glad you went there, because I can also imagine that this could be a very lonely journey. how did you take your families along? Because maybe other people could actually say, let's make it our private journey.
Yeah.
So in your case, you mentioned obviously families. How did you walk with them, in this journey?
I think for us, in the beginning, our families really didn't ask anything. Like literally, when are we having babies? It was never a question. But I think after our second IUI, we just told them that we are busy with this, and then I think the next one we sort of took them on the journey with us. Then afterwards we're like, because
We're not doing this.
we're not doing this again, because when you now have to tell them, hey, it didn't work out. It's
pressure.
as much as you know that they're not gonna put pressure on you, but you just feel like too many people are now disappointed. We are all disappointed now. Like, it's just too much. And that's why when we did IVF, we didn't tell anyone. I think we only told our friends. Yeah. And my brother and his wife. And that was it. We didn't tell the parents. I think even when we did, I think we tried to manage people, because we also just if too many people know and they know exact dates and whatever, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So we tried, but just because of that. But otherwise, our families really came when we invited them.
Yeah.
And they protected us. I mean, he was talking about his family. Literally, his grandparents would be the ones answering questions of other gogos, saying, when are we seeing little Makungus? And then they'll be the one taking care of those answers. I never had to answer for myself, because they protected me as well. So, yeah, that's the family support that we had and how we brought them in.
That's so wonderful. So during that period, I mean, life still has to go on, right? This is not the only aspect of your life.
Yeah.
There's work. There's a whole relationship.
There's marriage.
There's marriage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So she's going through these emotional upheavals, ups and downs, and so on. Surely there's a time where you step on each other's toes. During that time, how do you manage conflict during that process?
Can I go?
Breathe.
I think it was just hard because, you work on a schedule. And it's D-Day, and a person is not coming to the picture, is not coming to the party. He's tired, and I think that's what we used to really step on each other about, because I felt but we are doing this.
It's day 28.
I've been
Baba.
taking these pills, and my body is going through this. And when the day comes or the days come,
I'm ready.
I'm ready. And he would just
Shame.
then he'd be I know it feels like a chore, and it was, that part was just annoying. But my guy, we schedule, and he's not coming to the party. He'll come to the party 2 days, and then the rest. I can only 4 days.
Yeah.
4 days.
So when the whole entire 4 days,
Only I got twice.
whether you want him working,
Lalela. Ariet.
are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear what was going through your mind at that time.
Makungu.
But at the same time, I can almost understand, because when these things are almost scheduled, they kind of miss the, being spontaneous and But I'm not talking
that,
on your
but-
behalf.
Thank you. No, look, and it's exactly that. To say you've got 28 days. For 24 days, she doesn't care.
She doesn't.
This 4 days.
When I do, you want to utilize the other days.
Yeah, just.
And I'm let's.
Yeah.
This 4 days. So So I think it was also a bit of that.
Yeah.
Because you just feel like we're really no longer being intimate.
Yeah.
We are on a journey, it's work.
Yes.
It's actually a chore.
Yes.
It's one of the things you need to do. It's no longer let's enjoy each other, let's have sex for us. We were really just having sex as it was production. It was production days. It was 4 production days. It was month end. We are managing month end. We're managing sales.
We've got a target.
You know? So I think it gets to that, and obviously it creates that tension.
Yeah.
Where and I mean you're fighting about sex.
Yeah.
But all these dynamics that are now around it. So I think it was mainly that. But beside that part, I think the other conflicts were purely marital conflicts.
Yeah.
It was not conflict about anything else. It was purely marital conflict, and we never. It was really never outside that. It was never really part of our marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, funny enough,
Yeah.
this is the first time I actually characterized.
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Where beside that journey, it was a compartmentalized journey. Everything else in our marriage set up worked the way it should have. It was just only when it's about that we actually dealt with it. Besides the 4 days.
Besides the 4 days, just to segue just a little bit on this issue, do you guys believe in scheduled sex? Obviously during that time you had to schedule in the sense that there's this 4 days. You know what I mean?
You mean under normal
circumstances, or do you believe in spontaneity and and all of that?
So
No, we don't.
yeah.
Don't believe in scheduled sex.
Yeah.
It's only scheduled because we're nudging each other during the day.
Yeah.
But no, we don't.
But talking about scheduled sex, but even that too, there is an element of, it doesn't just happen. Like you're saying, you will sort of prepare each other in a way you would
Yeah.
and
And sometimes
get
even
someone
when they
ready.
prepare you, you are just too tired.
So I think in itself, it probably is not a problem.
Okay.
I mean, we could say we go on holiday once a month, or we lock away the kids and just stay in our room once a month.
Lock them away.
Yeah, like
No, but it's a hypothetical example.
I'm just worried about your kids. We're locking you away.
So that in itself
Yeah.
is a form of spontaneity.
Yeah.
But if it's used to fix a problem, it then becomes unsustainable. And then it becomes an issue because then it becomes a cover for a problem that is there. So when you have to schedule sex because you're not available for each other, then it becomes a problem. It means you need to fix the availability because scheduling it for 1 day in a month or 1 day in a week does not solve the problem that someone is not making an effort enough to actually be available to you.
Interesting.
So in itself, it's not a problem. I mean, it's like you could look at it like date night, So when we have got date night, when we come back from date night, it's scheduled that we're gonna, I don't think it becomes a problem. I actually just said to someone today, a friend, that sex is more an emotional issue for men than we actually tend to admit.
Amen.
So one day when I'm older and wiser,
I'm
actually going to go into trying to think, and we've spoken about this, trying to deal with the reality of what we know about sex as people, especially as men. And I make a crazy statement that, and I'm segueing from a segue.
I'm trying to figure where are we now?
No, that we know about sex from boys.
Yeah.
From little boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
As men, old married men.
That's interesting,
Our view of sex is informed by boys.
Yeah.
In what sense?
Not boys today.
Yeah.
But the boys that we were
Then,
Oh, I
20 years ago.
see. Okay.
What I've been learning,
Your-
what I've been-
yes.
What I learned about sex then, as a group of boys, actually tends to inform what we think sex is as married couples.
Yeah.
Because during that time until now, we don't have a fully honest conversation about sex as men, except hiding behind what we spoke about as boys, trying to be mature and trying to prove what we know about sex and all that. So that's why I'm saying that when you now schedule it to hide things that you
Should be dealing
should
with.
be dealing with, then it becomes a problem.
That's good.
Then it becomes unsustainable. Then it becomes an emotional barrier. Because then someone between the two of you who is the working party who is being solved for starts thinking it's a chore.
I get you.
So the guy that is not available because he's working and the wife is worried that this man is not servicing me enough, I'm going to schedule for him. So on that day, you are excited. He's feeling like it's a chore.
Someone feels like they're a project, you
Exactly.
know. So
Exactly.
you do everything else that you do,
Exactly.
and then
Exactly.
there's 4 days.
And the other way around.
Yeah.
So
That's an interesting.
I like that. I like that thinking, and I would love to explore that more
Yeah.
because I think you said something that a lot of us women, perhaps, we've never. It's so interesting for me to understand where you guys get the concept of sex, because unlike women,
Yeah.
I don't think your moms have conversations with boys where they will talk about sex like they would with a girl.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm really triggered because I'm actually thinking, where do you guys?
Yes. And women
Get-
are more honest about
Yeah.
sex when they're talking to each other.
Yeah. So
as
your
opposed to
guys'
men.
concept
No,
is.
they're like,
Yeah.
I would love to explore that more. But I want us to come back to. You guys had all of that journey. You have scheduled some things, and how did we move? You know, from that journey of 7 years to where you guys are now, because wow, there was a happy ending.
yes.
You know,
Yes.
in this journey, which is quite exciting.
Yeah.
So take us in that 7 years to where we are now.
I think what really helped, or that what really carried us through the 7 years and what is still carrying us today, is that we are still married to each other
Thank the Lord.
throughout
Yeah.
this journey.
Yeah.
And it's us, it's the two of us. Even now with children, yes, they take up more of our time, and also because now, I think because we waited so long, we also just, give a lot of our time to them, but we still find time for each other.
Yeah.
We still find time to do cute things that we used to do. We'll take a drive and just go buy ice cream, and it's the two of us. And yeah, he'll be like, oh, let's go buy ice cream. And
Yeah.
we'll go, and it's just the two of us.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's important, that throughout the journey, you remain together, because you remain married, you remain friends, you remain, together, have fun together, do things together.
Yeah.
The more you move apart, don't create
Yeah.
space.
Don't allow this to drift to your
Yes.
past.
Make sure that whatever you do, try to stick together. And if it means that you need to go out more, spend more time away from the house or wherever, just where you find yourselves just comfortable and loving each other, and do that, because that carries you and your friendship. You maintain the friendship, So yeah, for me, I think that's what's kept us. And even now, we are enjoying our new stage or phase where we are now parents to these children that every day we are just like, wow.
Can't believe
Yeah.
it.
Every day I'm like, there are days when I'm like, will we ever stop feeling like this?
Yeah.
Every day you're just like, wow, these are mine,
Sure.
Like I can feel them. They're growing taller. They
Yeah.
are doing things.
Yeah.
And so every day for us, we see God actually in those two, that God came through for us, and there's absolutely nothing
Yeah.
that God cannot do if you trust.
I'm interested in that first positive test, or that first the news. You know what I mean? Can you just take us through that journey? You obviously have done all of this,
Yes.
and then it comes to this one moment.
Yeah.
You know, how was that for the both of you? And can you just little bit take us back to that moment?
It was such an overwhelming day because it was a Sunday and we were scheduled to go get blood tests. Our doctor had said we need to go get blood tests. But then, so we went after church, got our blood tests, went home. After we took the blood tests, then he was like, no, let's buy a pregnancy test.
Oh,
And-
my. What was he suspecting? Were you acting funny?
And for some
Were you
reason,
eating grass? Were you eating grass or something?
No, I think
Ice cubes.
the funny thing, I think that 2-week wait was very different. It was just eating healthy. That was it. Nothing. Yeah. And then we went home, tested, and I tell you, it didn't even take 3 minutes. It just, those 2 lines popped up. I screamed.
She betrayed me. We're supposed to watch it together.
Oh, were you by yourself?
No, because I'm still in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And
Oh, you're screaming from the bathroom?
yes, because as I take it, I'm supposed to take it and we go, but like I can't see it.
Okay, I get the betrayal.
Yes. And then we had the packet too. Then we did it again, and then it was positive again. And then we drove out to go get the electronic one.
Yeah.
And we came back, and it was positive again. And it was such
Oh, man.
an overwhelming day. We literally spent that evening calling our parents and our friends.
Someone crying.
Yeah, I think we're you cry. We were just
Don't do such.
we're so overwhelmed. It was
Yeah.
such an overwhelming feeling because trust me, I have never ever seen a positive test throughout the 7 years. No false positive, nothing. So that for me, I knew this thing cannot lie to me because it always tells me the
Yeah.
truth. So it
You've
was
seen negatives before. Oof.
and I've never seen a positive. And that day I saw a positive, and it was the 31st of October.
Yeah.
And it was such a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even that evening, then my doctor sent me a message and said, "You are very pregnant."
Oh, man.
yeah, so
So often, and we're drawing to a close, often with parents who have gone through a similar journey, they would tend to, when the kids are there, you would always, because you have got this background that you have, this background knowledge that you have in terms of, what it took, for you guys to be where you're at. Often with a lot of parents, they would be a whole lot soft towards the kids, not be firm, don't discipline them,
'Cause we've worked
spoil
hard.
them,
Yes.
and
To
all
get
of that.
here.
How are you guys, with
As
that?
parents,
As
be,
parents
be
now?
honest now.
I'm worried about her.
Be honest.
No, look, I think we try, and she pretends to try. Like, she does, like, really.
I can imagine with that smile. I actually think she pretends.
She really pretends to try. And you're like, really, who are you trying to fool?
yeah, so he's the firm one. Now I call him. I'm like, it's hard, but I try.
How old are they now?
They are 2 years.
2 years.
Yes.
Okay, what do you...
Twins?
Twins, yes.
OMG. Okay. Oh, okay.
Twins, yeah.
Oh, you were very pregnant.
Now I understand.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, you were very. Oh man, guys, that's so awesome. That's
Yeah.
really,
It
really.
makes it worse to discipline them.
Yeah.
They
Oh
laugh
my
at you when
goodness.
you discipline them.
Oh no! At 2-year-old, you shouldn't discipline. All right.
And then they look at you and like, no.
Oh, that is
man.
so sweet, guys.
Yeah.
And are they a boy and a girl?
Boy and a girl.
Oh, man. Oh,
Guys, this is so awesome. Okay, I didn't know the twin part. I just knew you have two. I thought, this.
No, it was one girl.
Yeah.
Oh
now
man.
I understand why you were spoiling you so much.
Right?
Yeah, you needed that.
Yeah.
Like,
but the nice thing is I never cooked for whole 9 months.
Oh yeah.
It's one thing to want a child, but to get two, you kind of feel like, yeah.
He still needs to spoil me.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Listen.
Think about everything your body went through.
Right?
Yeah.
Think about your emotions,
Yeah.
up and downs, and all of that. And you're like, I'm not doing that. You're doing that.
Yeah.
You know, go do that. Go
Yes,
get that for
definitely.
me. You know,
Yeah.
I love happy endings. This is so amazing.
this is so cool, guys, man.
Wow.
Yo, guys, thank you so much. My goodness, the again, the journey of, similar, to yours is always a highly emotional journey. You guys somewhat found a way to tell your story with more happy emotions as well. And despite everything that you guys have been through, we really praise God for such endings. And also maybe to say, and I don't know if I have a right to say this, but also we don't have a right to children.
Yep. You're right.
Yes,
You're right.
that's right.
We don't have a right to have children. The fact that I am married and I don't have children, and then God, where are you? And I'm no longer going to
privilege,
believe in you, and whatever, and we kind of throw those
Yeah.
tantrums, as if we have a right to this. This we don't have a marriage if we don't have children.
Yeah.
No, look, I'm excited because as I was driving, I was actually reflecting on that. Similar to say that we don't have a duty towards making a decision point.
Yeah.
To say we don't decide that we're going to have children in this marriage.
No.
Yeah.
It's not our call.
It's not your
Yeah.
It's
call.
God's
yeah.
call. It's not my. So if it doesn't happen, we don't have a right to
Yeah.
it because we also don't have the tools to do it.
Yeah.
Well, but
Well, the tools are there.
The tools are there.
God's decision,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very important one that you're making. That we must always think like that
Yeah.
to say it's God's decision and it's a gift.
It's a
Oh,
gift.
it's only a gift.
Heritage from the Lord.
It's only a gift, and I think, guys, just we've obviously as we close, there are people who are watching this and who are going through similar experience as you, and obviously maybe they are at the beginning of it. You guys had to wait for 7 years before you received your gift from God. What advice would you give someone who's at the beginning of this journey and perhaps who's getting to a point where they feel
Yeah.
like this is a lot? What advice as we close that you have for those people?
I think one, it's okay to go through the emotions. Don't bottle things up. Speak up to your husband, and really just stay rooted in God. I found that scripture kept me. That I would find scriptures that would speak to my situation, especially, and when you remember a scripture, you know that scripture is rooted in you now, like it's in there. So stay rooted in God and continue to live.
Yeah.
Don't focus too much on that. Have fun
Yeah.
with your spouse. Enjoy each other, because not all days are going to be sad. You
Yeah.
can't be sad the whole time. So, but when you do go through those moments where you are sad, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And advice to men in particular going through?
So I think one, just keep believing. Like it's. I think that's probably the most important thing. Believe, but also know as you believe that if it doesn't happen, there's nothing wrong. There's really
That's good.
absolutely nothing wrong. So believe and keep trusting that God will give you, because it's a good thing to desire. It's
Yeah.
a good thing to want as a father. You want to have children. Desire it. Don't stop desiring it. There's nothing wrong with you actually desiring it. But when it doesn't happen, don't even be angry at God. Just take it as that's the card I'm being dealt with as a man, as a father, or as a husband. My card is that I'm not going to be a father. And part of the reason, to your own children, exactly that, to say, you've got plenty opportunities for you to go show off that love that you want to show off. You've got nephews, nieces, you've got cousins, you've got children, neighbors, and
Church.
Just church, you know, just keep on demonstrating and showing that love, you know, and be a good husband to your wife. Don't stop being a good husband to your wife. Just continue loving her and being there for each other. And I think at the right time, it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Just also thank God for it. That perhaps there's a bigger purpose, and there is.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, so I think for me, it's that it's a difficult journey. We say it now because it's like the Bible. You hindsight.
Yeah.
You know, now it's easier to laugh because we hear, but it's a very difficult journey. And to anyone else who's not going through this journey, never assume you know what people are going through. Even if we've gone through that, we never assume that people that we talk to, we know exactly how they
understand.
You know, so never assume. As a family member, as a friend, as a colleague, as anyone else, just be there. Don't go there unless you're invited. Only be there in the conversation when you are invited. I think people should really understand that.
Invitation.
Makungu, thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for your time. Thank you for spending this 1 hour with us. Well, slightly more, with us, and really being vulnerable, and really trusting us with that vulnerability. And we really trust that, as you grow, even as a couple, you guys are 10 years married, right? And God will really strengthen your marriage. And this experience that you guys have been through, it being, that flag, that point, that highlight that actually says, you know what, we can do this till death do us part, for better or worse. We've been through the worst, and, may God really bless you, even in other areas of your marriage.
Thank you.
That you may encounter. Thank you so much.
What a testimony. I feel like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You spoke about purpose, and I really believe that there's a purpose you guys went through this journey.
Yeah.
So that you can be able to encourage other couples who are going through the same, and never, don't take that for granted.
It's not,
There was a reason
It's not in vain.
Yeah, it's not in vain. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed putting it together for you. Until we meet again next time, much love.